They told him it was just a quick procedure, a small change, a few days of discomfort, and life would go back to normal. But weeks later, something felt different. Not painful, not broken, just less. Less sensation, less connection. Like a light had dimmed where it used to glow. And then came the question he never dared to ask out loud. Did I lose something I can never get back? If you've ever wondered what really happens to sensitivity after circumcision, you're not alone. Millions of men at different stages of life quietly ask the same thing, whether before the procedure or years after it's done. There are stories, myths, conflicting opinions, but today we're setting all of that aside. In this video, we're going to explore the truth, the biological truth, the emotional truth, and most importantly, your options. Because this isn't just about foreskin, it's about how you feel in your body, your confidence, and your ability to fully experience intimacy again. Let's begin. My name is Dr. Lily Anderson. I'm a board-certified urologist with over 20 years of experience helping men navigate the most personal parts of their health, from circulation issues to intimacy, from hormonal shifts to emotional healing. Over the years, I've sat across from countless men, some in their 20s, some in their 70s, who carried the same quiet concern in their eyes. Will I still be able to feel the way I used to? Not just physically, but emotionally, because sensation isn't only skin deep, it's tied to identity, confidence, and connection. And today, I'm not here to judge your choices, your background, or your beliefs. I'm here to offer clarity, science, and most importantly, hope. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through what the foreskin really does, what changes after it's gone, and what you can do, even years later, to reconnect with your body in ways that may surprise you. Let's take this one step at a time, together. Let's start with something simple. If you've noticed a change in sensation after circumcision, whether it was recent or decades ago, know this: you are not broken, but you may need to reconnect with your body in a new way. And that begins with 3 habits that support sensitivity: blood flow and emotional presence. When the foreskin is removed, the head of the penis becomes permanently exposed to air, fabric, and friction. Over time, this leads to a process called keratinization, where the skin thickens and loses some of its fine-touch sensitivity. But this change isn't irreversible. Daily moisturizing with a gentle, unscented emollient, such as pure vitamin E oil or medical-grade lanolin, can help restore softness and comfort. Some men also report increased sensitivity after consistent use of plant-based lubricants that nourish the skin and reduce friction-induced dullness. It's not about making things like before. It's about helping your skin adapt and stay responsive. The best time to apply? Right after a warm shower when the skin is clean and slightly damp. Let it become part of your self-care, not a task, but a gift to your body. Your nervous system is remarkably adaptable. Even if the foreskin is gone, your body still holds the capacity to rediscover pleasure through a process called neuroplasticity. One of the most effective tools? Mindful sensation training. This doesn't require pills, gadgets, or performance, just presence. Start by setting aside 5 to 10 minutes each day. Use clean hands or a soft cloth to gently explore the skin, not with the goal of climax, but with curiosity. Notice how different parts respond to pressure, temperature, or texture. Try slow breathing as you do it. Let your brain reconnect with the signals your skin is sending. Over time, this simple practice builds new neural pathways and can amplify subtle sensations you might have overlooked for years. Here's something most men don't hear enough. Sensation doesn't live only in your skin. It lives in your mind, your heart, and your connection with your partner. Many men feel ashamed to bring up changes in sensitivity. They stay silent, trying to push through it. But that silence can create distance, emotionally and physically. The antidote is honesty. Talk to your partner. Let them know what feels different. Ask them to slow down, try new kinds of touch, or give you time to rediscover what feels good now. You might be surprised, not just by their understanding, but by the emotional intimacy that comes when vulnerability replaces pressure. Some couples even use these conversations as a fresh start, a reason to reconnect more deeply than before. These 3 habits aren't magic, but they are real, simple, gentle, and effective when practiced with consistency and compassion. You don't need to chase the sensation you used to have. You can create a new kind of connection, one that's grounded, present, and fully yours. David was 57 when he decided to undergo circumcision. It wasn't for religious reasons. It wasn't a rash decision. It was the result of years battling recurring infections, discomfort during intimacy, and a quiet frustration that something just didn't feel right anymore. After consulting with his urologist and feeling reassured by the potential health benefits, he chose to move forward with the procedure. At first, everything seemed fine, but around the 8-week mark, once the healing phase had passed, David began to notice something subtle and unsettling. He felt distant from his body. Sex didn't feel the same. Touch seemed muted, and instead of relief, he felt disconnected. David didn't panic, he didn't complain, but he withdrew. Slowly, quietly. He stopped initiating intimacy, stopped reaching for his partner at night, and started wondering, in silence, did I make a mistake? Eventually, during a follow-up visit, he opened up. That moment changed everything. Instead of dismissing him, his doctor acknowledged the reality of what he was experiencing and introduced him to a gentle 3-part routine: moisturizing daily, practicing sensory retraining, and talking openly with his wife. David was skeptical at first. Moisturizer? Mindful touch? That felt too simple, too soft. But he gave it a try, not for results, just for reconnection. Week by week, something shifted. Not all at once, but he began to notice warmth, then subtle tingles, then slowly a new kind of pleasure, not identical to before, but real, present, grounded. The biggest change? His emotional closeness with his wife. Once he stopped pretending everything was fine, they began rebuilding something far more meaningful than performance. Now, David doesn't speak about loss anymore. He speaks about rediscovery. Let's take a closer look at what actually changes and what doesn't when the foreskin is removed. The foreskin isn't just a flap of skin. It's a highly specialized tissue rich in fine-touch nerve endings called Meissner's corpuscles. The same type of nerves that let you feel a feather brushing across your palm. When the foreskin is surgically removed, those nerve endings are lost. That's a fact, and it's important to acknowledge it without shame or judgment. But that's not the end of the story. Over time, the head of the penis, now exposed to friction from clothing and dryness, undergoes a process called keratinization. This means the skin grows slightly thicker to protect itself, much like calluses on your hands. That layer can dull sensitivity, making touch feel less intense or nuanced. However, here's the good news. Your nervous system is not static. It's adaptive. Through a process known as neuroplasticity, your brain and sensory nerves can adjust, rebuild, and even enhance remaining sensations. Think of it like turning up the volume on a speaker. You may have fewer input channels, but the ones you have can still carry rich, meaningful sound. And what helps turn that volume up? Moisturization. Softens skin, improves nerve receptivity, and reduces friction-induced dullness. Sensory retraining. Reactivates neural pathways, helping your brain relearn how to respond to subtle touch. Reduce stress. Cortisol, the stress hormone, interferes with blood flow and nerve signaling. When you relax, you feel more. There's also the role of oxytocin and dopamine, 2 key neurochemicals involved in pleasure and bonding. These are amplified not just by physical stimulation, but by emotional intimacy, eye contact, trust, and connection. In other words, pleasure doesn't begin or end with the foreskin. It's an orchestra. And even if one instrument changes, the music can still play beautifully. Your body hasn't betrayed you. It's simply waiting for you to reconnect, patiently and with curiosity. If you're still watching, that already tells me something important. You care. You felt the quiet frustration, the questions you couldn't quite voice, maybe not even to your partner, and yet you're here, listening, considering. That alone makes you different, because most men are taught to ignore, to man up, to brush off sensation loss as something inevitable, or worse, to feel ashamed for even noticing it. But here's the truth I want you to remember. You haven't failed. You haven't lost. You've simply crossed a bridge you weren't given a map for. And the good news is, you can find your way again. Not with drastic overhauls, not with pressure. Just one gentle step at a time. So here's where I invite you to start. Tonight, after your shower, take 1 minute, just one, to apply a small amount of natural oil or lotion to your skin. Not as a task, but as a way of saying, I still care for this part of me. I still want to feel. Or tomorrow, take 5 quiet minutes alone. No goal, no performance, just gentle touch, exploration, breathing. Let your mind and body learn each other again, slowly, kindly. Maybe even consider one open conversation with your partner, your doctor, or someone you trust. Not to fix anything, but to stop carrying it alone. Because what begins as a whisper of effort can, over time, become the return of sensation, of confidence, of self. This isn't about going backward, it's about moving forward, amach, with grace. And you, my friend, are already on that path. If this video made you feel seen, if even one sentence felt like it put words to something you've been holding in silence, then I want to invite you gently to take the next step. Not for me, for you. Leave a comment. You don't have to share every detail. You can just say, I'm here. Or, this helped. Or even just a number. Something that lets us know you're walking this road too. Because the truth is, you're not alone. There are more men than you can imagine who've quietly wondered what you've wondered, felt what you've felt, and who are finally ready to heal, not just physically, but emotionally too. If this video spoke to you, consider subscribing, not for hype, not for algorithms, but because next week we'll be exploring a topic I think many men are secretly searching for. Can sensation really improve with age, or is it all downhill? And the answer may surprise you. Until then, take one breath for yourself, one gentle step, and know this, you haven't lost your power. You're simply rediscovering how to feel it again. And that, my friend, is a journey worth taking.